Today, we're going to dive into a movie that answers all of our questions about what if Jaws happened in a lagoon, but mix it with a lot of student debt and much less logic. And I know you're scratching your head wondering what I'm talking about, and I'm talking about Killer Whale. Look, this is your classic survival movie in the water, of course, the kind where it actually had a decent cast and they had decent chemistry, but the story itself just kind of drowned. It's basically Free Willy meets Jaws if they were stuck in the same tank and they couldn't get out. If you've seen literally any shark movie in the last decade, let's say, then you've seen this movie too. It's predictable, it's average, and I'm sure it's the first of many fish exploitation films that we're going to get in 2026, along with every other sequel that we're going to get this year. But if you want to know why this whale of a tale barely stays afloat, then stick around and let's talk about Killer Whale. So I went to this film really wanting to like it. The CGI was okay, the tropical location was actually very pretty, and there was actually a good story there. So I'm not going to shit on the story. It was actually a good story there. It was just, in my opinion, poorly executed. The movie tries to give us some stakes, though, by mixing in this weird, dark backstory of robbery and betrayal. But it honestly never really gets a chance to jail because while that happens in the film isn't even really about that. And it honestly kind of leaves you wondering like why these characters in this story just make all these terrible life choices. From their fake criminal side hustles to eventually sneaking into an aquarium at night. Like this is a survival movie where the characters actually seem to be actively rooting against themselves. But before we talk about how a massive orca just teleports into a lagoon, if you love these deep dives like this and the best and worst of horror, hit that subscribe button. We're out here every week trying to make sure that you don't waste your precious money or your streaming hours on anything that's going to be a dud. So with that, I guess I'll give you a spoiler warning because I am going to spoil some of the movie, but not enough that you won't go see it if you choose to, but that's completely up to you. But so we're going to start with Maddie and Trish. They're best friends reuniting a year after Maddie's boyfriend Chad dies. I'm not sure what type of friend Trish is, but she ghosted Maddie for the entire time that she was grieving over the death of her boyfriend, and now she's back, and she's not only just back, she's back with an all expenses paid for vacation that she's going to take Maddie on just because she wants to. I'm sure that sounds really, really nice, right? But wrong. Because Trish is the person that is actually responsible for Chad's death. We learn later in the film that she's the one who set up the robbery at Maddie's job that she wasn't supposed to be at the time, may I add. Which is why Trish set up the robbery, because she thought her friend was going to be somewhere else. So let's rob her job while she's not there. It's a great friend. But anyways, the job goes sideways and Chad's there visiting Maddie and everything goes wrong. And basically Chad ends up dead and Maddie ends up dead. So now we're off to the tropics and, doing what we do in the tropics. We drink, we party, we have a good time. And the girls eventually run into this local guy named Josh that Trish just seems to have a liking for and starts to flirt with. But I bring him into the story just to say that he's the one who eventually come up with this plan to surprise Maddie, and we're going to take you to an aquarium, not during the day, during business hours where we have to spend money to get in, but we're going to sneak in at nighttime, and we're going to go there and go see Ceto, the whale, because you love this whale, or something along those lines. And now the whole whale of it, because the whale is our villain in this story. Whales, Ceto the whale is established as aggressive very early in the film. Film opens basically with Ceto killing a trainer or somebody that works there, but it kills him off screen, and we flash into all of this. But now we're back at the aquarium. So while we're here, Maddie, roams off by herself because I'm at an aquarium at nighttime by myself, so it's not like I have to worry about lines or anything. And Trish and Josh are all fooling around doing their own thing. Long story short, Maddie sees Ceto and she stands there and looks at him. But lo and behold, there's somebody that works there at nighttime because people work at night. Ceto kills this person as well, and his body's floating in the water. So obviously this spooks the shit out of Maddie, and she runs off, grabs her friends, and they run off, get chased by security out of the building. And this basically brings us to the only time that we see the person that actually runs the aquarium. And it's this guy, and he's just like, hey, somebody got killed at the aquarium again. And he's just like, oh, another one? Let's get rid of the fish. And that's it. So we know they're going to get rid of the fish. So we'll just leave that there. So now that I've gave you all of that and roped you into this beautiful story, now the next day, Josh takes the girls on this adventure to this lagoon where there's a beach, and apparently the locals used to go there until some incident happened there, and basically nobody goes there anymore. They make sure to lay it on thick that this is going to be a terrifying place because nobody goes here anymore. And it's just like, if nobody goes there, why are you going there? But it turns out to be this beautiful location. It's not terrifying at all. But lo and behold, the whale is there. And the whale quickly dispatches of Josh and the jet ski that they used to get there, leaving the girls basically banged up, cut up, and stuck on a rock. And we spent a lot of time in our movie on this rock. If it sounded like the things that I laid out earlier was a large part of the movie, it wasn't. We spent a lot of time on this rock in the film. And while we're talking about this rock, let's talk about the whale. Because how did the whale get to this lagoon? I don't know. Because they never explain it. It's never visited. It's never even asked. How is the whale here? You know, they allude to the whale's aggression because he may feel trapped, and that's why he's been aggressive, because whales don't eat humans and all that stuff like that. But not once did anybody ever ask, how did the whale get to this little lagoon? I guess it just appeared out of nowhere. That's the only explanation there is. But with all that being said, we get every survival movie trope in the book here. The whale triggers jump scares via all of the whale's jump scares. We know about them ahead of time because they're triggered via Maddie's grenades. The part where I said the girls got banged up, Trish has this bad cut on her leg, and she's limping around on this rock the entire time, acting like she could barely stand. They spend 2 or 3 days on this rock, but when it's time for her to make this noble sacrifice, or just make this noble move, which usually ends in a noble sacrifice, she can swim like an Olympian all of a sudden. You just spent 2 or 3 days stuck on top of a rock with no food, no water, and a bad cut on your leg that was bleeding at one point, and now you can swim your ass off. Okay. But with all that being said, Patty basically ends the movie searching for Trish's cell phone, and she finds it, and I guess she sends out an SOS or whatnot. It's not really clear if she does, but she eventually gets into the final battle with the whale, and she stabs it in the eye with something out of Trish's purse. And I don't know about you, haven't seen any predator, water or land, get stabbed in the eye and just run off and never come back. But this whale never comes back in this story. And she basically just passes out and wait for rescue to come, because that's that. Like, the whale never comes back. So I guess we're going to have a killer whale too. Hopefully it's not at the same lagoon, because this lagoon is trapped, but we'll see what we get. But this movie had more plot holes than a fishing net, as you could tell. The teleporting whale, like I brought up earlier, where did the whale come from? It was at the aquarium, literally. And the only thing the big boss said was, let's get rid of this fish. So how did it teleport to the lagoon magically? I don't know. And they don't visit it, and we would never learn. There's not even a flashback of, oh, it got dropped off in the middle of the night, or, oh, they slid the whale into the ocean off the back of a pickup truck. Anything. There's nothing. There's just the one guy that is alive, the security guy, and the boss. And I doubt they're strong enough to pick the whale up and just toss it. So who knows? And then, like I said, the whole miracle leg, like, you got badly cut, you're dehydrated, you've been sitting on top of a rock for 2 or 3 days, and now you can swim like an Olympian? Come on, it makes no sense. Sure, I'm sure they're going to try to survive, but even in trying to survive, your leg is messed up. Sure, you could probably still swim, but you're not going to swim like that. The whole robber guy that I brought up that, killed Chad, we don't know who he is. He committed a crime. He got shot, so I guess that sucks, but he committed a crime, left, and we don't know if he got caught, if he's still a part of the story. It just happens and he's gone. And then the final thing, like I said, was the whole eye stab. What predator, land or sea, just gets hurt in one part of their body, period, and it scares them away from something that's much, much smaller than them? It's probably not going to happen. But like I said, this movie was predictable. It was average. I give it a 2.5 out of 5, 5 out of 10, however you want to look at it. It's not the worst thing you'll see, but I would save it for a date night at home or nothing to watch. Let me throw this on whenever it comes on VOD, or if you're going to the theaters to see it, go see it on a Tuesday, on the Ticket Tuesdays. But I'm out, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Please let me know what you think about this film if you've seen it. And what is the dumbest way that a monster has arrived in a movie? Let me know what you think about that question and drop it down in the comments. I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.